Hello people of the internet. On Sunday we found out a bug that looked like it is causing a data loss, which was especially scary. However, it turned out not to be the case and the problem is much smaller. What actually happens is Pavel sent me this build, and it has its results here on the Copper backend, and you can see there are no RPMs and no source RPMs and stuff like that. And if we would take a look into the backend log, sorry, it's not spec, backend log, this one, it would show us that the results were uploaded to Pulp. However, if we would go to the Pulp results and find out the results, the source RPM and the RPM and other results actually weren't there. On Sunday, we figured out they are not lost. It's just a problem that this Pulp distribution is pointing to an old publication instead of pointing to the repository itself, which would mean that the latest version of the repository is always displayed. So we located the problem to the storage file, I think. Yeah. And somewhere here, I think we narrowed the problem to this exact line. My guess is that 90%, 99% chance is that the bug is here in this line, because we are setting a publication here, and we are setting that public. We are pointing the distribution to point to a publication, and we are doing so in a case when we want to do the manual create repo event, which is clicking on this regenerate button. So my guess is whenever I click this button, this action is sent, we update it and point it to the publication, and then it's broken. Since it was Sunday, I didn't have time to reproduce this. I just tried to narrow it as much as possible and send my analysis to Pavel. But today we should probably confirm that it is the case, and we should fix it. Okay, so reproducer first. We will try to reproduce it on our project, on our development instance. Let's jump here. Let's make this larger. Let's jump to the Copper project. Where are we? Pulp hit counter. Okay, so this was merged, so we can probably go here. Rebase. Okay, good. Now, maybe let's kill all the services and run them from the newest version of the code. Okay. And if we go to our local Copper instance, we are logged in. Maybe we can create a new project. I cannot create it like this because I need the project to have its results in Pulp. So we will need to create it from the command line. storage. Do I have it? Yeah, I have it here. So test lost results would be a good name. Not on the staging machine, but in my Docker setup. If we refresh, test lost results, it is here. Yeah, and we set pulp. Good. Okay, we can do a test build to make sure everything is working. That's always a good idea to do. Otherwise, when you start with the case that isn't supposed to work, then you may end up figuring out the problem, and then you figure out a different problem is happening, and it's skewed by that. So it's always a good idea to try a successful scenario first, and then continue to the broken one. At least in my experience. Okay, so this should take just a minute. I'm trying to think of some steps ahead, but I'm actually... my brain doesn't think so much today, so I don't know, this will be hard. But we will manage, right? I guess our next step, if this succeeds... By the way, importing for some time now, so this is suspicious. Is the dist-git down? The dist-git is possibly down, yes. Okay, pending, good. Good. See, if we did something we didn't expect to succeed, we could be maybe confused whether it's related to our problem or not. Since we are doing something that definitely should succeed, anything other than a success is clear sign that the setup isn't working, not that it has something to do with the bug. Anyway, once this succeeds, we will hit the... No, we will check the results, the pulp results for this project. So we have a script, we have a helper script. It can show us a distribution name. No distribution name. It can show us the whole JSON of information that we have for the pulp repository and that we have for the pulp distribution. And we should definitely see there that the distribution points to the repository. And then I think if we hit the regenerate button, we should see that it failed, and it shouldn't. And then we will hit the regenerate button, and we will see that we should see that the distribution will now point to a publication, which means, yeah, new stuff will not appear. Anyway, we need to take a look what the hell is going on here. If we open the backend log, we need to see here. Okay, so waiting for repository, giving up, waiting for base repository. I don't want to hit the... It says to click the button, but I don't want to click it just yet. This should, however, work on its own. So, is it possible that the action failed, for example? Do we have some problems in our logs? Is Pulp down, possibly? it shouldn't be, otherwise we would probably see problems in the logs, right? But if we go docker compose ps, where is pulp? Pulp up. Okay, if we go logs pulp, okay, is it possible that pulp crashed and didn't recover completely? Let's restart pulp, because if you watch all of my videos, a few days ago, in some of them, what happened was that my computer ran out of disk space and I needed to cut the recording short, and we figured that several applications crashed because of missing disk space, and then we continued after fixing that problem. But yeah, several applications crashed. I think we have seen this also here. No space left on device, so this was on the dist-git container. So it's possible the pulp container died the same way, maybe. Now this is from, I don't know, maybe let's try just fpulp. Maybe let's try to create a new project and see. So we will do test lost results 2. And the 2 is here, builds dist-git add. Okay. For testing purposes, there is a good package called hello, but that's 2 more letters. And also you need the right hand to write some of those. So I have to move my hand from the mouse. So add is actually a really good testing package for this kind of stuff, because it's just 2 fingers on the left hand and it builds even quicker than the hello package. So that's a good testing package. Okay, starting. Do we have anything in the pulp logs? I mean, this looks successful, 200s. Publishing repository, publication created. This will raise error. Okay, so this is just some problem with deprecations, but this is not our concern. So, to me, it seems, since the publication is created, that it should just work, right? But starting means we are still waiting from the repository. Failed. Okay, so this is the same problem, I guess. Typo. Yep. Waiting, giving up on base repository. Why is that? Why the hell is that? isn't this always the case? You want to debug some issue and you are blocked by some other issue that needs to be resolved first, and then there goes your workday. Okay, how can we figure out what is wrong? I mean, what if we click the button and try to build again? Publishing and publication, this was, I think, the new one, because the previously the published was publication, here created. So yeah, I think we successfully regenerated it. Okay, we'll see. Also, it doesn't seem to be the case for me that we just needed to resubmit the build, because in logs we have seen published and the build was still starting and trying. So I think resubmitting the build wouldn't help, actually. I don't have any like weird stuff in my Git repo, right? It's clean repository. Do I have some weird stuff in my containers? Since we were working on the Pulp hit counter issue, there could have been some stuff, but I think we mainly worked on that on the staging machine, not my local Docker instance. So that's not the case. So what the hell is going on? And I mean, action dispatcher is running. It actually sends the requests to Pulp in the logs. If we check just the action logs, var log copper actions log, do we have, if we search for this, okay, so this is the very first line. Generate GPG key, executing, create repository, get repository action ended with success, create distribution, publishing, ended with success, action, create repo, create repository, get repository, create distribution, get publication, pointing. Okay, so this was the regenerate button, and I think we actually confirmed our issue, even if we didn't want to do that just yet. I think we just confirmed. Pulp get distribution, Pulp updating distribution, publishing, ended with success. So I cannot see any error in the action log, which means this should work. Let's take a look at the backend. The repository it is waiting for is, oh, wait. I know what is going on. It has to do something with the hit counter that we worked on last week, 2 weeks ago, I don't know when. Because check this out, we are pointing to the public Pulp instance maintained by the Pulp team, and this says it is using the copper staging I think they call it domain. So yeah, my local copper is trying to communicate with the Pulp instance for our staging environment. I did that for a reason that I needed to develop something regarding the hit counter, which means counting downloads from AWS, and it would be impossible to do on my machine, so I needed to do this workaround. But since our backend communicates with our local Pulp instance, it means that one is configured correctly. I think the only misconfigured one is the front-end container. And here we have it, the culprit. So let's use our local and run the server again. And maybe let's do a new project. So we always start from the clean slate. Lost results 3. Dist-git add submit. Okay, now I think now it should finish successfully. Okay, I want to keep this one opened. Okay. Okay, so it is running now. That wasn't the case before. That means we successfully started the builder, which means we successfully waited for the repo, and so on and so on. So I guess in, I don't know, minute this should be built, and we can investigate how the Pulp configuration for the project looks like. We can prepare that so that we don't wait. I guess we cannot prepare that, sorry. We need to run that from the action container, and I will need to kill this for that. Or I would have to open a new shell inside of that container, but I don't want to do that because see, I have a lot of shells inside a lot of containers, and that would be too much. I try to keep just one shell per the per every container within this project. So we will wait. Okay, this succeeded. This is really good. Now if we kill the action and do Python, so we have the right environment variables, but now we will run opt copper backend run backend, we forgot backend, run copper pulp query, right? And for a project, and we will specify the project name, which is this. Please specify chroot. Sure, sweetheart. This is our chroot. Okay, good. This is exactly what we wanted. Now, this is information about a repository, and this is information about a distribution. How do I know that? I don't. Actually, yeah, it would be really nice if it says that, but it doesn't. But I just remember first one is repository. And also this has a version href. And see, Pulp href has distributions here, Pulp href has repositories here, so we can confirm that. Okay, so this is a repository, this is a distribution. Now, the distribution the distribution has publication set to none, and the repository will be this repository. It ends with F3. So this pulp href is used here as the repository. This is entirely correct. And that means if we build another, we can check the build results. We can check the build results in Pulp. So I guess we need to do, what port is Pulp running at? This one. A lot of garbage. Lost results 3. Bam, 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 right? If we submit a new build, the data will be there. Definitely. Let's do it. This gate, I know, copper CLI, for example, that should be fast. Okay, so we expect that C directory will appear here, and it will contain copper CLI results, right? This should be in a minute. However, once we click a regenerate button, it will get messed up. This shouldn't take too long. Copper CLI package is also very small. It's a small Python package. Basically, yeah, there is like no build step. It just takes the tarball and puts it to the right place. So this should take a minute also. The longest part of the build should definitely be initializing the mock environment. I will pick some music for the next hour. Maybe this one. Okay. Good. This finished successfully, which means if we, if we refresh the Pulp results page, we have C here, copper CLI, right? So this, and also these packages are also, of course, included in the repo data, so you can DNF install from this, right? But that's too complicated to check. It's much easier to check if the packages are just here, and trust Pulp, it put them also into the repos. Okay, so we confirmed that the new stuff appear if we build them. Now, if we can once more check that this is in the correct, in the correct state, which means our distribution says its repository is this and the publication is none. So this is what is expected. We can run the action dispatcher, and we can hit the regenerate button. We will also take a look to the logs. This is, all logs. And we will definitely see there that it says pointing something to the something, and it will be basically pointing our distribution to the latest publication, I think. Okay, so the action is finished now. So this is what happened in between. Handling action, executing, Pulp create repository, Pulp get repository, create distributions. They of course already exist. So Copper tries to create them, but I think it just like fails, and Copper understands it's because they already exist and whatever. But here is the interesting line. Pointing Frostix /test lost results 3 Fedora 42 to the same publication as this, which is href for the publication, get distribution, updating distribution, publishing, okay. So I think our data shouldn't be lost now. If we take a look at the data first, the data is here, both of the packages are here. If we kill the action dispatcher and take a look at this, okay, this is weird though. This is weird though, because repository, of course, we only care about the distribution now. Check this out. It still points to the repository. Even though Copper said it points to the publication, this, right? So, okay, we didn't actually confirm the issue. However, we confirmed that we get to this branch of the code, and we shouldn't actually get to this branch of the code. Like that's a bug 100%. But strange that this doesn't. Okay, so the reproducer is more complicated. I think the devel would have to exist. We would have to switch from the devel to the. Check this out. Okay, let's do. Okay, let's build, for example, tracer, also a small Python package. It should appear in the results. So I think we didn't reproduce the issue, and I need to run the action dispatcher probably. So I think it will appear in the results, and then we will go to the project settings, enable manual create repo, which will create repositories for the development. Like it will create repositories and distribution for the internal build repository, but the one that's not served to the users. We will once they are created, we will immediately disable the feature for the project. But we will have those all created. That's the point. But we will disable the feature, and then we will hit the regenerate button, and I think maybe that will reproduce the issue. Okay, importing. Kind of bad that we need to build all those packages to confirm if it's working or not. because there are long times of waiting, but nothing we can do about that. By the way, let me check when is my meeting, so we are not late. Okay, today's calendar is kind of full here, I think. So 2 o'clock. That means we have 2.5 hours. Okay, that's good. Come on. Too slow, too slow, too goddamn slow. Okay, succeeded, nice. If we take a look here, yep, Python tracer and also tracer. So it was added to the project. Now I said we need to enable the create repo feature, right? So this one, we will save this and we will wait. We take this URL, copy it, and go up and go up. Now, this one was created successfully, and it contains the same data. Good. And I think if we disable the feature now, update, this directory should keep existing. It should keep existing, and now is the action finished? I think so, right? Status success. Which one is that? Handling action, create repo action. Yeah, I think the one. Yeah, I think the action is finished. We can see getting builds from front end, getting actions from front end, but nothing is being processed. So yeah, that action is finished. We can kill the action dispatcher. We can query again, and it is in the correct state. Publication none, repository is set. If we do this and then hit the regenerate button again, action dispatcher is running, yes. Okay, so soon we should get the action. And it should be the one saying, pointing something to something, right? Okay, success. Let's take a look. Pointing to the same publication as blah, blah, blah. If we kill the action dispatcher and query this, it's still correct. What the hell? How is that possible? How is that possible, since we are pointing this to the fucking same publication as this, which is, it even said what it is. It even said what it is. Okay, okay. We will do, what was the action ID? This one. We will take this action ID and we will run a single action again, and we will run this again until we figure it out. Okay, this is the action ID, action process action. Yep, this is the command I wanted. Here is the ID. Right, success. If we query, it should still be the same, but let's be sure. Yep, it's still the same. Okay, so we now can basically run the single action and query and make sure. Now we will definitely put a debugger here, because what the hell. Process action, here we are in the debugger. Okay, so let's pick up the shovel and keep shoveling. So until we figure out the problem. Can we repository href? So what's repository href? Yeah, it's the F3 one. So okay, that's the correct repository for the public, correct href for the public repository. Now, what's the publication? Publication is this one. Okay. Where did we take it from? From information about the main repository. Right. What happens if we get the public distribution? Public distribution. Okay, so we have some distribution. Is this the correct distribution? If we take a look at our distribution here, href here ends with FC4. FC4, that's the same one. Okay, so this is the expected distribution. And what happens if we do this? Right? It returns 200. Okay, cool. If I now query this, it still points to the repository and not the publication. How is that even possible? Maybe let's take a look at update distribution then. What is happening here? Because this is weird. Did we get the log or not? Updating distribution, this one. But this looks completely reasonable. Like there isn't any weird stuff. We can put a debugger here to be absolutely sure, but I don't think we need to. We kill this, and run this again. No, wrong command. Task ID. This is init project. Let's jump to the next breakpoint, and here we are in the update distribution, pp data. Publication is correct. I mean, I don't know what the publication is actually, but it's a publication and repository is none. So how is it that this doesn't doesn't actually update it. I'm thinking maybe the problem is, and that would be a bug on Pulp side, definitely. Maybe the problem is that it's the latest publication that the repository is basically already pointing to. So, can we query all publications for a repository? If we do pulp, yeah, that's all I got. Pulp help. Pulp. Is there some publication? Okay, next, help list, of course. Ooh, can I somehow limit it? Referenced resource in the form of or by href. Oh, thank you very much, because that's what I know. And our repository is... What the hell is our repository? Our repository is... PRN href, this one, right? Wait, guys, you said it supports or by href. So I think this is a bug. Okay, I will create a note for that so I can report it to the Pulp team. I will do this off screen, sorry, because I don't want to show you my agenda, whatever is pronounced, agenda probably. Report bug for the Pulp team, query publication by href. That's not accurate actually, but never mind. So we will copy this block and put it here into a code block. And I'm writing a note, or by href. Okay, good. I created the to-do item for that. Okay. So we cannot query by this. That's sad. But is it a problem? I think not. F3. So what if we take this, for example, just a completely random publication. And if we take it here and we say that publication equals this one, now we can bring this process up again and kill it. And if we, by the way, I have no clue what YouTube thinks about saying kill like 100 times in a video, but you guys understand it is killing processes, which is the right Linux or Unix term for that, and not anything weird, right? Okay, let's run the action again and jump to the update distribution. Good. Just to be sure, publication is F9. Okay, so this is the one we randomly picked. And we can probably finish this, right? And if we query the project now, yep, this is the command, it still points to a repository. I don't understand nothing. Okay, I have no clue what's going on here. This just doesn't work. Update distribution. Is this broken? It shouldn't be. Let me check one more thing. If we run the dispatcher, we go here. I have some breakpoints, so it would crash, not crash, but yeah, crash probably. We need to get rid of the breakpoints. Okay, now we can run the dispatcher again, and in the project settings, we enable the create repositories manually feature. Now the action should get processed, right? We will wait for that. Okay, success. So it finished. If we kill this now and query, wait, no, so this is no, this is broken. This is broken. This used to work though, but this is broken. Let's take a look at their documentation. Update RPM distribution. What kind of put it is supposed to be put? It is supposed to be put. Is that the problem? Oh, there is also patch. Trigger an asynchronous partial update task. Update task. Okay, so patch is partial. RPM distribution href. So that's a part of the path. Repository string or null URL publication oh no, URI, sorry, URI. Okay, so I think we should be sending the right stuff. Do I have some possible container? Okay, let's do it in this one. Clear this stuff and let's do DCO logs f pulp. Okay, what do we have here? Patch distributions, right? Patch distributions. It returns 200. I don't see any errors here. What the hell is spamming me all the time? Publishing, publication created. The result of the pulp RPM up publishing publish function is not JSON serializable. Will be replaced with none. But I mean, there is no error, right? What am I going to do is probably update the pulp container, DCO up the pulp. I think there is some command to force the pull always. Pull always. Okay, so we are pulling a new pulp container. Before this finishes, I will run p and we'll be back. Okay, so this is still doing stuff. How is it possible it is so slow? I'm curious if this will help or not, because the behavior is really weird. Like, maybe it is possible that the pulp team introduced a new bug in this exact place, while we found a different bug in a very similar place. That sounds like a too big of a coincidence, right? So maybe I'm just misunderstanding what is happening. But I don't really think so, because we even manually called the update distribution function and give it the arguments we needed. So we basically isolated the whole problem to this. And now we are talking, by problem, I mean that the publication is not being updated. Or our query script is broken and it queries something different. Let's take a look at the query script. Pulp query, and we have some query project here. By the way, all my system is lagging right now because of this. Anyway, we specify a project here. So what do? We figure out, the full name for the repository, which is the project, the owner name, project name, and root name. We get the repository by that name, so that's a clear cut. We get data, we get repositories, which is plural. I don't know. There is two of them, more of them. How many of them? Not just one. Response for distribution. The distribution name is the same as the repository name, right? And the same here. We have multiple distributions, not just one.